Burnt Island is a small seaside town in the Kingdom of Fife. It is this small town that I was brought up in. My grandparents on my father's side were James and Elizabeth Buchan. They moved with their family from the Edinburgh area in 1902 as James found employment in Burnt Island docks as a coal trimmer. My mother's parents were William and Janet Lambie, and they moved from Kilmarnock to Burnt Island in 1917. William had the position as a manager of the Co-op Butchery department. Both families had been living in the busy central belt of Scotland and must have had a great change of lifestyle when moving to a small seaside town away from their friends and relations. Granny Buchan was 80 years old in 1938, and she had been a widow for 1 year. I was not born until 1944, so never met my grandparents on my father's side. My father, William Buchan, was the youngest of a family of boys and was born in 1900. He was a merchant seaman from the age of 17 until he retired at 65. When my father was 25, he took ill and landed in a hospital in Latvia. He was there for several months and learnt to speak German fluently. This is a photo of him with a large turban bandage on his head, surrounded by fellow patients. They all seemed to be wearing a uniform, the ladies with short sleeves, but the men's outfits are all the same. Reassuring my grandmother that he was getting better. Granny Lambie surrounded by her children. My mother was not born yet, so therefore was not included in the photo. In 1946, my grandparents celebrated 50 years of marriage. Here they are with their children and partners, and also included are 2 great-uncles and an aunt. You are now going to see a selection of photographs of my mother, young, old, and with my father. I am photographed with my brother Bill, then with my mother and Aunt Millie. The photo was taken on my first visit to England, and then we're all ready for a wedding. Burnt Island Docks is where Grandad Buchan worked as the coal trimmer. Uncle Tam had a job there, and so did a couple of my cousins, Uncle Tam's sons. This looks like a drawing of the aluminium works before it actually got built. I worked there, and so did Uncle Bert. You're going to see a variety of views around Burnt Island. The tourists had a lovely time here. There was a large grassed area called the Links, and it was wide open. And on this area you had the Highland Games in July, and the fun fair came and stayed for about 6 weeks every summer. The beach was very popular. It had a paddling pool, rowing boats, and a tea room at the end of the beach where you could go buy ice lollies and ice cream. The tea room also offered washing facilities so you could get rid of that nasty sand that went everywhere. The parish church was the first new church built in Scotland after the Reformation. It was built in the Dutch style. There was a yearly event called the Crowning of the Queen. We had a silver band entertaining the tourists. There was a pipe band in the town. There was a swimming pool. And this is a photo of the beach tea room, which was very popular. You are looking at the port building, which was just opposite the family home, which you can now see. Some of the photographs are old, but the burnt island of old is still recognisable today. The swimming pool has been replaced with a modern pool on a slightly different site. Burnt Island expanded into the Kirkton area after the war. Prefabs and brick housing were built. My family was moved into the first block of 4 built. The work continued for several years. Between the two families there were 40 grandchildren, and as children 37 lived in Burnt Island or within 6 miles of the town. As adults, approximately 25 grandchildren, some now grandparents and great-grandparents, chose to remain in the area. The fact that so many remained in the area confirms that the grandparents' efforts for secure employment for them and their families paid off.